Be informed, be inspired. Join us for the Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond show. Tune in and listen for both modern and ancient wisdom on all things maternity, parenting and sacred women's business, right here on the Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond show.
If you watch her face, it's absolute joy when she's got her newborn in her hands when nobody else has touched it. Absolute joy.
You're tuned to Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond, contemporary conversations where stories, science, traditions and new ideas meet. Our show is coming to you from the studios of Bay FM in Byron Bay and is broadcasting across Australia on the Community Radio Network. And you're here with me, Sally Cusack. In this show, we'll be exploring the importance of keeping a mother and baby together rather than playing pass the parcel with the baby in order to help them both adjust to their new lives and to give breastfeeding its best possible start. Customarily, a lot happens in conventional birth settings to disrupt this closeness. However, there's a lot hospitals can do to improve this standard practice. But also, extended family have an important role to play. A friend of mine is pregnant with her third baby. She has family around to support, but with her previous births, there was a lot of attention paid to just getting to hold the baby. This is a common story. In my friend's case, with the benefit of hindsight, she now wonders if all the extra handling of the baby by others played a role in her difficulties with establishing breastfeeding with both previous babies. We've talked before about the importance of setting up a network of support in the early weeks of motherhood. But in this episode, we'll speak about how that support needs to be in the form of keeping you and your baby close and not having lots of other people hold the baby. In this episode, we hear from midwife, leading researcher with a PhD in breastfeeding, mother, grandmother, Dr Robyn Thompson, about the mother and baby connection. We also hear from a mother's personal experience of creating a cocoon of protection around her babies when they were first born.
I've been a midwife for 40 years. Actually, I've been in the health system for 55 years if I include nursing. My passion is midwifery. My passion is being beside and with women. And that is important to me because I see that there's been a distinct disruption to the normal transitions from pre-pregnancy to pregnancy to early labour to established labour, even pre-labour's left out now, early labour, established labour, to breastfeeding and early parenting. And that's the woman's role. She takes that baby and grows that baby all the way through those normal transitions. And somehow we tend to want to interrupt or intervene. We're looking at changing the practice of breastfeeding so that babies are going to the breast with the mother and not being forced to the breast by another. And it's in the first feed and the first 72 hours that we're focusing on because that's the critical time for breastfeeding to be continuing and to prevent complications.
When a mother and partner foster a relationship of closeness during the pregnancy with their baby, they have a much better chance of understanding the baby's needs after birth. It also helps a mother attune to the baby and their passage out of the womb, however that may happen, as well as in the hours and days afterwards. This attunement will be particularly helpful if mother and baby are needing to recover from a birth that took unexpected turns. Robyn goes on to explain how birth will unfold if her and her baby's process of birth is undisturbed, and she is with people who are skilled at watching and listening and enable her to take her baby into her own hands. She also introduces the idea of the baby attaching itself to the mother's breast straight after birth if, once again, the mother and baby aren't rushed or interfered with. If you want to know more about this phenomena, Google the term newborn breast crawl.
As she's giving birth, she's focused on her baby descending through the outlet of her vagina into her hands, if you don't interrupt. And if she's close to the floor, the baby might slide to the floor and she'll pick her baby up. If you feel you need to have your hands on, it has to be a very good reason. Most women can do that. If you're urging her to push, you're more likely to get a tear. She'll work with her own body under her own steam and she'll take her baby. You absorb this huge, enormous, beautiful picture and you see the joy and excitement all around that she has her baby. Then she'll take her baby to her body and she'll just hold it. She'll talk to her baby. A toddler, if there's around, might come and say hello, but she's still got her baby in her arms. Then when she's ready, she'll indicate to you once the placenta's born in good time. If there's no signs of bleeding and there's no major concerns, leave well alone, don't clamp the cord and wait for the placenta to birth. And once the placenta's birthed, she'll decide what she needs to do next. She'll indicate to you what she wants you to do. Make her a nest somewhere comfortable if she's not in bed. Let her just be with her baby and watch what goes on. The baby will make its way to the breast with the mother helping her. So there's no set rule, but the baby will locate, it smells, tastes, and it locates the nipple with its tongue. And you will see when it's getting close to the nipple that the tongue starts to protrude. And often they'll use their little closed fists to readjust the direction of the nipple and the breast. It knows what to do. You look at every other mammal, we humans have to back off. It's not something that we should intrude in unless we are genuinely concerned about the baby or the mother. We have to give that mother her space and her time.
So Robyn has a clear message about the amount of handling from other people that babies should have, that is, as minimal as possible, especially by hospital staff, and how the mother and baby shouldn't be rushed in the moments after birth.
Little babies who are microbing with their mothers do not need handling by anybody else. That's so important, including hospital staff. It's so important that other people do not handle that little baby. She's given birth to her baby. It's overwhelming. She's competent. She's confident. She's done an amazing job, and then suddenly her baby disappears. Why? Why would someone take her baby? Then why, when all the relatives come, would they want to come and pass the baby around? The microbes from the mother's body, vaginally and on the skin, are so important to the preparation of the baby's gut for the future. So we want the baby to have as much contact with that mother as possible, not to be dried off, not to be wrapped up tight, but to be with the mother as the mother pleases. And there's no other mammal in the world except those that are in zoos where there is intervention of someone taking the baby off the mother. If you've got a mother who's done it all on her own, she'll take her baby. She'll just pick her baby up and take it. She won't let anybody touch it. But the mother who's had opiates, the mother who's been lying on her back to give birth, the mother who's had someone try to vacuum the baby out, the caps come off twice and then they turn her around and do a forceps, they're the women that I'm really concerned about. And it's happening all the time. Always the baby belongs to the mother. It does not belong to anyone else. It belongs to that mother and the father if he's around. They're the people that are the focus at the time of birth. The baby will feel secure, and if dad has to fill in the gap, that's who it should be, preferably skin to skin, preferably with a light cover over the top, not rubbing and stressing and distressing the baby. Observing carefully. You can stand back and you can observe and you can know what's going on if you're a skilled midwife. You don't need to be touching and doing a whole lot of things if it's unnecessary. The second thing would be not to rush that mother, to take your time, to give her the space that's required. So now I'm told that women have to be out of labour wards within 2 hours. So the whole thing is about go, go, go. So the midwife goes to the computer. She's got her back sometimes to the woman. She's talking to the woman with her back turned instead of sitting beside her writing notes. Stay with her, beside her, and then to hell with all the policies. Women do not exist and do not give birth around policies. They're all individual. So we have to push the policies aside. Midwives have to be strong. The policies are made for the hospitals to do their systemisation. The policies are developed for doctors to do what they want to do. The policies don't suit the individual woman. So to hell with the policies. You do what the individual woman wants and needs at any one moment in time. Don't rush it. Take your time. In her good time.
The baby's process of making its own way to the breast while on the mother's body straight after birth is in many ways actually part of the birth process. The placenta is still not necessarily birthed yet. The cord is still pulsating, and in fact the attachment to the breast will facilitate the most efficient and therefore safe release of the placenta from the uterine wall with a minimum of bleeding. We think of newborns as being so feeble and inept, but they actually have a crucial role to play. Robyn has learned how incredibly attuned and skilled the newborn is if given the time and space to make their own way. And amazingly, when the baby is given this time, the chances of nipple trauma, engorgement and mastitis is minimised if mother and baby are given this chance in the early hours and days after birth. In the words of South African practitioner Dr Nils Bergman, skin to skin is the key that unlocks the neuroscience. The brain is a jungle, not a computer. Think of the layered, interconnecting jungle where everything functions in relation to everything else. There are more synapses at birth than stars in the universe. And we want these first minutes and hours of a baby's birth to be ones where optimal brain wiring occurs for feeding, bonding and recovery. There's a website called The Birth Pause, which is completely dedicated to this period straight after birth. They write at the top of their page, the birth pause, very simply, is a slowing of the moment when a mother and baby first meet. This can occur in many ways, but we are loving what happens when a midwife or doctor simply guides the baby down, allowing the mother the extraordinary moment of discovery where she can really see and explore her baby before she gathers her just-born child into her arms. So that's from thebirthpause.com. So weighing and other procedures don't have to happen straight away. Please delay these as long as you can, if all is well. Through the experience of contact through skin to skin, the wiring of the brain occurs, and this process of wiring is disrupted when skin to skin contact is withheld between mother and baby. There's a quote here from Sarah Blafner-Hredy from the Mother Nature magazine in 1999. The article is Babies Celebrated, and the quote is, "For species such as primates, the mother is the environment."
The baby needs to touch the mother. The baby's lips need to be on the mother's body. It's phenomenal just watching the newborn and the skill that the newborn has, and you watch the mother work with the baby. It's just incredible. They work together beautifully. It takes half an hour to an hour roughly to locate where they're going. Then it takes 2 to 3 hours leisurely feeding from both breasts. So the baby will feed for a while, stop and look around, look at the mother's face, and it's almost listening to what's going on, and then goes back on, goes on the other breast, and then keeps doing that. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to reach satisfaction. Then it's ready to go to sleep. So we don't interrupt that. We let that baby go to sleep. We don't need to do things to the baby at that point in time. And then the mother has time to rest, and she has time to hydrate and to nourish herself. And then she has time to have a sleep as well before the baby wakes for the next feed. The next section of feeding, about 24 to 48 hours, maybe up to 72, will be frequent feeding from both breasts. very important in that early first 72 hours to feed from both breasts to bring the